வணக்கம் நண்பர்களே, இது உங்கள் வேரவ பழனிசாமி. நம்ம யூபிஎஸ்சி சிவில் சர்வீஸ் எக்ஸாம் இன்டர்வியூ கொஸ்டின்ஸ் பார்த்துட்ருக்கோம். 2024-25 நடந்த இந்த தேர்வு 2025 ஜனவரி 6ஆம் தேதியிலேருந்து நேர்முக தேர்வு டெல்லியில் நடந்துகிட்ருக்கு. அதோட டிரான்ஸ்கிரிப்ட் ஓகே. அண்ட் இந்த கேண்டிடேட் வந்து பஞ்சாப் அண்ட் இவருடைய ஆப்ஷன் வந்து சைக்காலஜி. சரி, பார்க்கலாம். இது நம்முடைய 110வது டிரான்ஸ்கிரிப்ட் இந்த வருஷத்தில் பார்ப்போம். அண்ட் டேட்டு 20/3/2025 ஆஃப்டர்நூன் செஷன் அண்ட் லாஸ்ட் பர்சன் டு கோ. போர்டு சஞ்சய் வர்மா சார் இருக்கு. ஓகே, ஸ்ரீ சஞ்சய் வர்மா. அண்ட் கிராஜுவேஷன் இட்ஸ் ஆப்ஷனல். போத் ஆர் சைக்காலஜி. லக்கி. அண்ட் டைம் 30 to 35 minutes. Detailed application form keywords, poetry, non-fiction books, and QPR suicide prevention. அது என்ன நமக்கு தெரியல. Governance, Punjab, DU, Delhi University, or others not relevant. Right? So let's see. I think psychology we are seeing, I think, second candidate. Papa. Chairperson. I wished a happy afternoon to members since it was the International Day of Happiness. Okay. And sir asked if I was trying some psychological trick with the board and had a lighter moment in the start. Okay, this happens. So how you make the board relax also. You also be to be relaxed. And since you are a psychology student, do a psychological analysis of the people and who are sitting with you on the table in the waiting room. This is a very common question. Fine. So then, what books have you read? What books have you read? Man's Search for Meaning and what is about. And you talked about happiness and sadness. So happiness and sadness. Are you not too young to already be a philosophical and trying to find a balance of such emotions? இது இன்னும் சூப்பர். இவ்வளோ யங் ஏஜ்லே வந்து எப்படி பேலன்ஸ் ஆஃப் லைஃப், கவலை, துக்கம் அண்ட் சந்தோஷம் எல்லாத்தையும் பேலன்ஸ் பண்ண பார்க்குறேன் நீ கொஸ்டின். ஃபைன். தென் தேர் இஸ் நாட் லாட் ஆஃப் thirst on Indian psychology. So we have always been talking about Western concepts. Yes, and why? I mentioned Sudhir Kakkad and went on with a small discussion on what their books. Ayurveda in psychology. How is the perception about it? What do you think its use in psychology? Ayurveda in psychology. How is the perception about it? What do you think its use in psychology? In the globalized world, children are shifting more towards homogeneous culture. How do you perceive this? And you are doing so well in psychology. Why not be a psychologist, which is actually a need of the hour rather than a civil servant? Another very, 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 very valid question. And I brought up Jonathan had it latest books on anxious generation and had a good discussion on this. Right. So the person looks well read. Fine. Then have you heard of this latest show, Adolescence, on Netflix? I said I have heard, but I have not watched. Sir talked about it and asked to watch it. See this. Right? Then member 1. The recent cases of women going to office just 5 days postpartum and another woman constable taking their 5 days old kid to the office to as a traffic police. Your opinion. Do you think tokenistic health concern of the child is a social standard to be the limelight? Work-life balance and debates and your viewpoint. A lot of people keep sitting in the office and are taken as a good officers, while those who have strict timeline are not taken as good enough. What do you think? Emigration from Punjab, especially youth and reasons, what are the steps that should be taken? So this is another valid important point, because அமெரிக்காவிலேருந்து வெளியே இங்கே வந்த நிறைய பேர் வந்து பஞ்சாபை சேர்ந்தவர்கள். எல்லா ஃப்ளைட்டும் பஞ்சாபு தான் வந்திருக்கு இப்போ வரைக்கும். Right. Remember 2. You are so much into poetry. Name some poets who had to struggle so much in life and still came forward and voiced themselves. Gender budgeting. The focus on women led development. Why is not gender neutral? How is the incidence of gender budgeting in ascertained? For example, MNRGA. How will you do that? How will you do that? QPR, suicide prevention and gatekeeping. What is it? How to make it really include it in the different settings? Suppose you are leading your office now as an officer. How will you make yourself the best in the office, not functionally, but in terms of employees, right? Then number 3, in case of insurance, it is not given if someone dies by suicide within a year. Is the psychological reason for behind it? Difference between lunacy and insanity, purely psychology. Is committing suicide is a crime? Is trying to commit suicide is a crime? Committing a suicide is a crime, and trying to commit a suicide is a crime. And difference between good governance and good administration. Good governance and good administration. Good question. Tell about industrial psychology. Tell about industrial psychology. Then number 4, 2 recent ongoing issues in Punjab. I mentioned farmers issue and scenario took place yesterday. And questions based on that and grilled fully. What do you think about the whole scenario? Did the police do right? In the morning, it's a negotiation period, and by evening, the whole scenario shifted. And your opinion about it. I differ. So, what you want to say? Give me your final stance. Why shifted from ICSE to CBSE? Prakash Padukone's daughter, Deepika Padukone, didn't become a badminton player, became successful actor, and still suffered off from depression. And why? It's a psychological question. Why did she come out openly about it? How did she come openly about it? What is your opinion about doing in this way? Right? So people in the மாதிரி விஷயத்தை வெளியே கொண்டு வரதே பெரிய விஷயம். So that's a real question. Toughness also. Then chairperson again, picking up from the Deepika Padukone, there was an issue of Kanhaiya Kumar and JNU in the past. And Deepika Padukone stood up and faced backlash. How do you view this whole thing? We think you are too nerdy and scholarly. Tell us something funny or crack a joke. So might be forgetting some questions and overall cordial board. Some grilling with a last member under controversial issues and marks in different places. And it says, and nowhere close to marks in my case, though it's general. In general, I advocate people are open-minded and figuring out how to bring the true self in a situation and with the grasp over your strength. And all the best. Right? So thank you very much. Thank you for listening this. We'll take up one more script for the video. Next. Thank you.
வீடியோ உங்களுக்கு பிடிச்சிருந்தா லைக் பண்ணுங்க, ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க, சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க, கமெண்ட் பண்ணுங்க, பெல் ஐக்கன் பிரஸ் பண்ண மறந்து போயிடாதீங்க. அப்பதான் நாங்க போஸ்ட் பண்ற வீடியோவோட நோட்டிஃபிகேஷன் உங்களுக்கு வரும்.